Today I'm going to take you on a journey through my last 3 years of publishing low content books on Amazon KDP. Hello home bosses, my name is Nuria Corby. Welcome to my channel, which is all about helping you to make money online. And in today's video I want to take you through my 3-year publishing journey on Amazon KDP. I started publishing low content books in November 2019. And for those of you who don't know what low content books are, they are things like planners, journals, notebooks, coloring books, the type of books that don't require much text. It's a business that has become really popular in recent years, and I'm here to share my story of how I did it. So if you're ready, let's jump onto my computer screen and I'll show you some of the figures behind it. So let's see how those 3 years looked like for me. As you know, I started in November 2019, and this is what November 2019 looked like, and December. So November, I didn't make any sales, and it didn't discourage me because I started towards the end of November. So everything was still new to me, and I was just hoping to make some sales soon, but I didn't know when those sales were going to come. And December was actually not a bad month for a beginner because I earned $310 in royalties. But what I didn't think about was that this was quarter 4, and in quarter 4 there's always more sales than during other times of the year. So quarter 4 really helped in creating those first sales. I didn't do any advertising and I didn't do any promoting. This was purely with the books I made. So I started with some books that are easy to create and saw some sales fairly quickly in December 2019. So now we're going to jump ahead to 2020. Let's see what happened that year. So as you can see, my sales in January, February, March went down significantly. So I made a little bit of money in December and I thought this is great. But then of course in January things started looking very different, and I earned $125 in January, went up to $177 in February and $292 in March. So it was kind of increasing but very little, and this was not enough for me to of course have a full-time income. I still had a job at this time doing something else, and it seemed like a long time. January came and went, February came and went, and by March I was thinking this is probably just like a side hustle for me. I didn't think at this point that this could become a full-time income. And then in April, things started going up a little bit and I earned $587. So that's when I started thinking, wow, maybe this is something that I can build on, and maybe this can become more than a side hustle. And then in May was the breakthrough month because I earned over $1,000 in that month. So that to me was the tipping point where I thought this can become a full-time income. And then in June sales went up again and I made $1,950. So I was thinking, this is great, I can leave my job and I can just do this full time. And of course KDP is not like that. There are times when things are going really well and then other times when they don't go so well. So in July my earnings went down again to $701. Now for a lot of people that is a lot of money still, but I was really desperate to make this into a full-time income. And then the following month it went down even more, and I was a little bit surprised to see that my income was dropping and not going up. And then again in September it was more or less the same thing. But now we're going into quarter 4 again, which is October, November, December. And as you know, quarter 4, there are far more sales because people are getting ready to buy books for gifts for Christmas. And in October, things started looking a lot better. I went over the $1,000 mark again. So then I earned even more in November. This was a really big month for me, $5,082. So December was even better, $9,439. This is when it started to get serious and I thought this could be a full-time income in the future. But because January, February, March had seen a big drop the previous years, I didn't know what to expect, and I wasn't really expecting anything. So let's see what happened in 2021. So after I had a really good December and I had earned over $9,000, January dropped, but it was still a good amount because I earned $3,361. So I was very happy with that. And that to me is a full-time income. It's not a side hustle anymore. And it continued in February, and then in March I had a really good month, $6,228. So by now I was thinking, yes, I can use this as a full-time income. So I was very confident by then. And then it started dropping a little bit, but not enough to put me off. I was still very happy. And then in September and October, it became a little bit less, but still enough to call this a full-time income. And then in November, December, Q4, again, a really huge increase. And I was really, really happy with the amount of money that I earned. So overall, 2021 was a really good year for me on KDP. And what was really strange as well was that I didn't really publish that many books this year. So for me, considering that I didn't publish that many books, this was a great income. I was really confident that I could build on this and make it a more stable income or a more secure income, because I could still see that some months were really high and some were low. So I decided that really I had to look at the income over a longer period of time, and if I added up all the income this year, that would be more than I had earned in my full-time job working in an office. So I was really happy with what I achieved on KDP in 2021. And then 2022, let's see what happened. When you look at the first few months from January till August, there wasn't much of a change, and I know that it was a steady income, and from that perspective I was really, really happy. It wasn't going down drastically, and it was holding its own, and it was continuing to create a full-time income for me. But I was a little bit disappointed that with all the efforts I was putting in, I wasn't really seeing much of an increase. I was hoping to scale the business and to see a higher income. When it came to September, October, November, December, I had an increase, and it was a noticeable increase. And I know this is Q4, so October, November, December, I was expecting to earn more. But really Q4 for me usually only kicks in late October. Once that Thanksgiving is over, that tends to be the time when people are starting to buy more books. And I already started to see a little increase in September, and then October was very good. And December I had my best month ever, where I earned $15,841. So that was a really amazing month for me. I was really happy for one reason, not just because I managed to have a really great November and December, but also because I could see that things were starting to improve. And I didn't know what to expect in January. I thought the sales would go down quite a lot, as it usually does in January. I was happy that I could see this little increase because I know why that is, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later. But it seems like my efforts started to pay off in September when things started to increase a lot more. So I'll just show you what happened in the January. So this is January last month, 2023. So I thought that January would go down a lot, and actually in January I made $12,136. So that really gave me a lot of confidence, and then I was worried, well, what's going to happen in February? Maybe this is a fluke and January is just really good, and then in February it'll go down a lot. But I'm pleased to say that today, the time of making this video, it's now the 12th of February, so we're not even halfway through, and I've already made $4,244. So obviously, of course, we have to take away advertising spending from all of this, but I just wanted you to see what is possible with just royalties, with gross royalties. And more than anything, I just wanted to show you the graph so that you can see an overview of my total time on KDP and how the graph looks. I'll just show you an overview of the whole thing. So here is an overview of the 3 years that I've been on KDP. You can see that in total I have so far made $142,000. And you can see that when I first started, this graph is a little bit low. Then there was a spike in May, June, went down again, big spike for quarter 4. Then it evened out a little bit, and then actually a big spike here again for quarter 4. But the following year after that was lower than the previous year. So that's what made me a little bit scared, thinking, is this really going to work, or is there going to be a point where things suddenly stop? So there's always that uncertainty. But then it increased. There seems to be a more stable feeling to it now. I think that it would have to drop by quite a lot for this not to be my full-time income. So at the moment, I'm thinking, yes, this is definitely becoming more secure and something that I can really build on. And I will tell you a little bit about how I did that, how come that things improved here in September 2022. You can also see that when I first started, I was ready to give up here. At this point, I thought this is probably not scalable, but then it started going up and I thought, this is great, I can scale it. And then it went down again and again. At this point, I thought this is too up and down. I'm not very sure about this. So I did have my doubts all along. So if you are at this point here, for example, where you think this isn't really working for me, and some of you might not have had any sales yet. I was very lucky that I started in quarter 4 and that really helped a lot. But I know that a lot of people are starting and it takes a while for them to see some sales, and it's easy to give up. But always think about this graph. You could be here at this point or here at this point, and then you're ready to give up. But really, if I had given up here, I would have lost all of this that was coming. And I'm so glad I didn't give up. But let me tell you a little bit more about my journey. This is just to show you the figures and the graphs, and let me tell you more about my 3 years on Amazon KDP. So those are the figures behind my story. Those are the 3 years that I've been publishing. And who knows what's going to happen in the next 3 years. I hope I can scale the business the way I planned. You never know what can happen, but hopefully things will continue the way they are going at the moment. And I want to tell you a little bit about the things that I think really helped me. And first of all, I think I mentioned this a lot of times, just don't give up, because this isn't an easy way to make money. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes many hours in front of the computer, and it's very easy to want to give up. So don't think that my story is typical. It's maybe not so typical, but I'm sharing it with you because I want you to see what is possible. So if you are at that stage where you have created low content books, but you're not seeing many sales, just persevere, keep doing what you're doing, but change things. So don't keep doing the same thing and hope that your results will get better. If something isn't working, if you have been publishing, for example, for 2 months or so, and your books are still not selling, then try different books, try different niches, do more research, improve your cover design. The covers are so important. This is one thing I learned, that a good cover can really make or break a book. So cover design is very important. And if you don't feel that your cover design is good enough, then by all means outsource it to someone, or have a look on Canva. If you're using Canva to create your books, there are lots of ready-made templates for covers that you can adapt. Always make sure that whatever you're using, you modify it and you make it unique to you. But you can use Canva templates and create some really decent covers. I've got a video where I show you how to do that, so I will be linking that up there so you can take a look at it, and that is using Canva templates to create covers. But you can create your own covers, and if you're still not confident enough, outsource it. You know, there are people on Fiverr which are not too much money that you can give the job to, and they will create your covers for you. Make sure that you check their reviews and make sure this is someone that knows what they're doing, but it's an option you have. You can outsource your covers. And also, the more you make your books, the better you get at it. So this is another thing you learn by doing. So the more books you create, the more you practice, the better you should be getting. So you have to be conscious of improvement. Don't just make book after book after book without thinking of what you're making and thinking about the design, thinking about the niche. Be very mindful of the kind of books that you're making and be mindful of improving with every book that you make. So when I made books and they weren't selling so well, I always tried to look for different kinds of books to make, or looking into different niches as well. And it's always a good idea to make books in niches that you know something about. So that could be, for example, if you have a profession, you could make books that are about your profession. If you're a hairdresser, you could make a hairdressing notebook or an appointment book for hairdressers. Make your books in a niche that you have an interest in or that you know something about. So if you have a business, if you're running some kind of business, you could make a book for that business that helps other business owners like you. And that way you know that you're making books that actually help other people and that are in demand. And the other thing that I find really helped me in particular was branding my books. And in my case, it happened really by chance. I didn't plan on branding my books, but I was publishing under a specific pen name. And for some reason, all those books kind of go together. So for example, think of, this is not what I did, but I'm giving you this as an example. Think of coloring books. So if you're making a series of coloring books, you could brand those coloring books. And by branding, I mean targeting a specific audience. And then what you do is you first of all need an author page. So make sure that you've got an author central page for your brand. Also, if you can, make a website. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. Just a landing page where you can collect email addresses is perfect. And then create different social media accounts that you can use for your brand. Make sure that your pen name is your brand name. These are all things that you can learn over time. That is something that really helped me a lot. And it was a coincidence in my case, but I noticed that that was one of the things that really helped. When we are selling our books on Amazon, we can't communicate with our buyers because we don't know who they are. Amazon deals with them and we don't have to worry about sending the books to anybody or dealing with customer service. So Amazon does all that for us. But the negative about that is that we can't promote our other books to those customers. So that is where your author central page is really important because people can follow you on that. And that is also how a website is really important, because if you can collect people's emails and then you can promote your books to them, that really helps to promote your business and increase your sales. And don't worry, I've got lots of videos coming up on how to brand your books. So that will be really interesting. And I'm working on a course for that as well. That will be coming up in the near future. So you will have lots more information that you can use if you are already publishing low content books. But if you haven't started yet, I would say to you, just start and find out if this is something that you find interesting, that you enjoy doing, and it can become a side hustle. And who knows, maybe it can become a full-time income as it did in my case. So learn how to make low content books first of all, but then you also have to learn how to promote them and how to target your specific customer base. So all of that can be learned. So don't be afraid to start, because if I hadn't started those 3 years ago, I wouldn't be here and telling you about it now. And I'm so happy that I did, because it changed my life. And I hope it does the same for you. And thank you so much for watching all of my videos. I'm so grateful for that. And I'll see you again in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.